Everyone said it about them. So much potential. In school, in performance reviews, in the quiet conversations their parents had when they thought they weren't listening. And they heard it. They believed it, maybe, or at least they didn't argue with it. But something happened between that sentence and the life they're actually living. Not a disaster, not a tragedy anyone can point to, just a slow, almost imperceptible gap between what they're capable of and what they're actually doing, between the person everyone said they'd become and the person they became instead. And here's what genuinely stops me about this, because I've looked at the research and the answer is not what most people expect. It's not laziness, it's not fear of hard work, it's not even lack of ambition. The people who waste their potential are almost always the ones who feel it most acutely. And that's exactly what makes this so fascinating and so painful to understand. And if you recognize yourself in any of this, if you've ever had that quiet, uncomfortable awareness that you're living somewhere below what you're actually capable of, I want to say something directly to you before we go any further. You are not broken. You are not lazy. And the fact that you feel the gap, that you're aware of it, that it bothers you, is not a flaw. It's actually the most important piece of information in this entire conversation. Because here's what the research keeps showing. The people who waste their potential aren't the ones who don't care. They're almost always the ones who care too much. Think about the person who is genuinely the smartest in the room, who can see every angle of a problem, who can predict exactly how things might go wrong, who can articulate a vision more clearly than anyone else around them, and who does nothing with it. Not because they don't want to, but because their brain, running at full speed, has already modeled 17 ways it could fail, and that overthinking loop runs faster than any motivation can outpace it. Or the one who starts brilliantly, the project, the business, the creative work, and then quietly disappears right before it gets real, right before it could succeed, right before anyone would have to evaluate whether they actually lived up to what everyone expected. Or the one who spends years preparing, always one more course, one more credential, one more reason why now isn't quite the right time. None of these people are wasting their potential because they don't have it. They're wasting it because something in their psychology has made using it feel more dangerous than not using it. And that something has a name. So what's actually driving this? Here's where the psychology gets genuinely interesting. Your brain doesn't evaluate potential the way other people do. When someone says you have so much potential, they mean it as a compliment, but your brain hears something different. It hears a standard, a height you're now expected to reach. And heights, to the brain's risk assessment system, are not exciting, they're dangerous. Researchers at Columbia University studying motivation and self-theory found something that reframes this entire conversation. They discovered that people who are consistently told they're naturally gifted, smart, talented, capable, develop what psychologists call a fixed ability mindset. What that means for you is this: when your identity is built around being capable rather than becoming capable, failure stops being information, it becomes evidence against who you are. Be honest, have you ever not started something because if you tried and failed, you'd lose the story that you could have succeeded? That's not weakness, that's loss aversion applied to identity. Your brain would rather protect the idea of your potential than risk discovering its actual limits. Because an unused gift can stay perfect forever, a used one can be found wanting. And underneath all of this, running deeper than the overthinking, deeper than the procrastination, deeper than the endless preparation, is one quiet belief the brain has been protecting since the first time someone said those words. What if I try my hardest, and it still isn't enough?
Picture someone who has been working on the same project for 3 years. Not because it's complicated, because every time it gets close to done, close to being seen, they find a reason to expand it. One more chapter, one more revision, one more thing to get right before it goes out into the world. What they need isn't more time. What they need is a technique called implementation intentions, developed by psychologist Peter Gollwitzer at NYU. Instead of "I'll finish it when it's ready," they write down one specific sentence. "On Friday at 9 a.m., I will send the first version to one person." Not the perfect version, the current version, to one person. The brain that's been protecting potential from evaluation gets a different instruction. Not "be good enough," but "do the specific thing at the specific time." Specificity bypasses the part of the brain that keeps raising the standard. At work, this looks like setting a ship date before the work feels ready. At home, it looks like sending the message before you've rewritten it 7 times. Done and imperfect beats perfect and invisible every time. Now, picture someone different. Brilliant, perceptive, can see exactly how a conversation will go before it happens, which means they also see exactly how it could go wrong. So they don't have it. They wait for a better moment that their own brain ensures never quite arrives. What this person needs is cognitive diffusion from acceptance and commitment therapy. The technique is disarmingly simple. When the thought arrives, "this could go badly," you don't fight it, you don't suppress it. You say out loud or in writing, "I'm having the thought that this could go badly." That one grammatical shift creates something remarkable: distance. The thought is no longer you, it's something you're observing, and something you're observing can be examined rather than obeyed. At work, this means naming the fear before a high-stakes presentation, instead of letting it run the show silently. In relationships, it means noticing the prediction of failure before you cancel the plan, and choosing differently anyway. And then there's the one who knows exactly what they want, can describe it in detail, feels it clearly, but can't make themselves move toward it. Not because they don't want it, but because wanting it badly makes the possibility of not getting it unbearable. This is where self-compassion reframing, developed by Kristen Neff at the University of Texas, changes everything. Not as a comfort, as a performance tool. Research consistently shows that self-compassion after failure increases the likelihood of trying again, while self-criticism decreases it. Your brain doesn't perform better under the threat of your own judgment. It performs better when it believes the attempt itself has value, regardless of outcome. In practice, when you fall short, and you will, everyone does, ask one question before the self-criticism arrives. What would I tell someone I love if this happened to them? Then actually follow that advice, for yourself, once. See what it does to the next attempt. The goal isn't to eliminate the fear of failing. The goal is to stop letting that fear write the story of what you're capable of.
Here is what I want you to hear, maybe for the first time without it feeling like pressure. Your potential was never the problem. The problem was that someone handed you a label, gifted, capable, so much potential, without giving you permission to be ordinary while you figured it out, without telling you that the path between capability and achievement is paved with failed attempts, embarrassing first drafts, and work that isn't good yet. You weren't wasting your potential. You were protecting it the only way your brain knew how, by keeping it safe from the one thing that could disprove it. Now you know what was actually happening, and knowing, really knowing, changes what's possible next. The potential was always real. It just needed permission to be imperfect. Drop a comment. What's one thing you've been preparing to do that you've been preparing for so long it's become a way of not doing it? You don't have to have an answer yet. Just name it.